Analysts Wendy, Patrick, and Laura Fink join us this morning with more. Ladies, good morning to both of you.
Good morning. Good morning.
All right, so Trump's calling for a special prosecutor now to investigate the Clinton Foundation. Will the questions over how much money was raised for the foundation actually hurt Hillary? Laura, I'll have you start.
Well, I think that the first thing to examine is what is the Clinton Foundation? We talk a lot about it. This is one of the most successful foundations in the area of international aid. So all of the money we're talking about goes to things like disaster relief, hunger, economic development internationally. And the question that's being asked is really about how we slice and dice where Hillary spent her time. And I think that as Raul might agree, I think depending on how you slice the stats, you could even make Kobe Bryant look bad. So, so it really is just a subset, and it essentially they're suggesting that the folks are that because she met with a number of folks who had given to the foundation, that there's some sort of suspicious cloud here. I don't know that this will stick, namely because Donald Trump, who was essentially levying these charges, has not even released his tax return. So you've got the Clinton Foundation that has been imminently transparent, Secretary Clinton releasing all of her scheduling information, and Donald Trump, who is saying he wants a special prosecutor but won't even release his tax returns.
Wendy, I want your thoughts on this, because no matter all the good that a foundation may do, how they got that money is at issue here. What are your thoughts on all of this?
Well, I'll tell you, for both sides, the question has been, show me the records, whether it's medical records, tax returns, or where does this money come from and where does it go with the Clinton Foundation? You've heard it characterized as pay to play. You've heard it characterized as trafficking in favors, paying for access, paying for influence. But what it really comes down to is it that important that it's going to make a significant difference in the voting? And most people think that it won't. And many people are frustrated by that, because this honesty, this trust issue has dogged Hillary Clinton since she began her campaign. Actually, I could say throughout her whole political career. But given that the foundation exists as a charity in part, as you heard, and given the other issues on the table for the average American, it probably won't have the kind of significance in the polls as many Republicans would like it to have.
Well, and that's also because...
What are we talking about when they're saying that the donors had access? What is access? What do they mean by the access?
Well, it depends on who you ask,
Yeah.
because to some people, access means just that. You just reported on a fundraiser last night where a lot of celebrities got to go and get their picture taken in a booth with Hillary Clinton. Is that access, or is access influence? In other words, do you pay for having her pass legislation? Do you pay for having her take your side on significant issues, national security, taxes, whatever it is?
And let's talk about what we have. We have a schedule, and we have a list of donors, and then we have a particular journalist who's combining the two in a creative way. What we don't have is any sort of evidence that there was any sort of favor or influence. Now, I also want to talk about who the donors are, because yes, they can be corporations, but they can also be individuals, heads of nonprofits, and philanthropists and other foundations. So these are all people that you might imagine might have an interest in international aid relief, etc. So the problem is there is no smoking gun, there is no evidence of wrongdoing here, and the players that we're talking about are highly sympathetic.
Okay, I want to move forward a little bit because we want to talk about Trump's campaign. He's having a good week, but also his new campaign manager, Kellyanne Conway, is saying that the campaign is going to be counting on these undercover voters to pull off a win. Wendy, is the polling telling the whole truth? What's going on here? What are these undercover voters?
Well, undercover voters are those that claim they're not going to vote for Trump, but they will. We have seen this in a number of different elections, and there's a lot of reasons that voters might be hesitant to proclaim support for the candidate, given some of his gaffes of the last couple of months. However, with Kellyanne Conway and with some of the members of his new campaign team, he says he wasn't going to pivot, but it appears that that's what he is beginning to do. He has come across as more scripted. And remember, for Donald Trump, a teleprompter is a script for success, because we've seen that the shooting from the hip, running of the mouth is not the type of strategy that is doing him any favors. So these people that so far were undercover voters, in other words, they like his policies, they want conservative Supreme Court justices elected, but they don't particularly like Donald Trump as a man or as a personality, may not have been showing up in the polls as claiming they're going to vote for him. Now, what's going to be interesting is, given that this week has been a lot better for Trump than in the past, are they now going to come clean and suggest that, well, Given his new strategy, given his new temperament, we are going to be voting for him.
Is the new strategy working? He's having a pretty good week. Even maybe Laura might even consider that to be true.
Well, I think he stayed away from his phone. And one of the interesting, but I just want to say on that, Kellyanne Conway knows better. There's evidence usually, particularly with the advent of online polls, a lot of times people don't want to tell a live person, and so then you have that response bias. But there's absolutely no evidence that that's occurring, because the online polls that are anonymized are matching, are pretty darn close to the live polls. So this is just another Trump technique of going after and saying, like, you know, we're really actually ahead when in fact they are far behind.
Okay, I wanted to, one last thing from both of you. Hillary's health. She tried to put all that speculation to bed with Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, is this something, or is this another, as Laura would say, trying to throw stuff on the wall, see what sticks?
You know, Raul, health and wealth, those two issues have really dominated the news cycle the last couple of days. Hillary's doctor says her health is excellent. Donald Trump, of course, came up with a glowing letter saying he's the healthiest man in the world, basically the healthiest candidate to ever run for office. I say we just put a Fitbit on the both of them, have them wear it for a day of campaigning, and then let's look at the results at the end, and we'll be the judges of that.
I like that. Laura?
Well, you know, I think she opened a jar of pickles and had her pulse taken on Kimmel, so that's put to bed. But what this is emblematic of is the fact that Donald Trump has elevated the head of a conspiracy news organization in Breitbart, who was unafraid to publish stories like this without a shred of evidence. That's how he made his name. Whether you're talking about Obama is a Muslim or any of the other sort of what they call alt-right, but really is extreme hard right, unsubstantiated claims. So with Breitbart news guy at the head, I'm not shocked and expect more to come.
Well, there's that. I tell you what, to have your blood pressure taken on live television, you don't take mine right now. It'd be through the roof probably, like it is at the dentist.
Resting heart rate just isn't quite the
What's stressing
same.
you out, Raul?
All right, Wendy, Laura, thank you, Laura. No more Kobe Bryant quips. It was his birthday. Give the guy a break.
Thanks, Raul.
Okay, bye, guys.
Time now